Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hi, thank you for coming to the city's annual Take Our Kids to Work Day. We are very excited to have you here today. My name is Alaina Emery. I work in Personnel and Civil Service, along with Pam Vogel, our Training and Development Specialist, have planned some exciting activities for you. Hopefully the weather holds out so you can get down on the street and see what we have planned. But without further ado, I am going to turn the floor over to our City Council President, Bruce Krause.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So I'm a little out of breath because I had to walk from the motor pool down, and I'm not as young as I used to be, and I keep thinking I am, but I'm not. So I just want to welcome you here for coming in today, spending some times with your moms and your dads at work. I might ask you a couple questions after I make my remarks to see kind of what you think your day might be about, things like that. Our city clerk, Mary Beth, and our deputy clerk, Kim, are coming out. We're going to talk a little bit about council chambers, what this room means, perhaps what our jobs are about, what we do, those kinds of things. But before we go into that, I'll tell you a little bit about how I used to go to work with my dad. Does everybody in here know what a Klondike is? Oh, come on, sure you do. So, I had the good fortune to have my dad work for Isley's. And it was the only job my dad ever had. He started at 13. He worked there until he was about 66 years old. So when I would go to work with my dad, I got to make Klondikes. And there was a plant in Oakland where Isley's was founded, where they did all the manufacturing. And so when I went to work with my dad, it was all about making ice cream and eating Klondikes. That is a really good day. Would you not agree? Yes. Yeah, it's a pretty good day. So your day may be a little bit different than that, but there's a full range of activities that are prepared for you. You'll get to see a little bit better about what your moms and dads do. Perhaps maybe even influence you a little bit about the kinds of choices you might like to make when it comes your time to enter the workforce and to get a job, how you might want to do that. So where's Mary Beth and Kim? Is Kim still here? So this is my boss.
He's kidding. He's a funny guy.
So Mary Beth is our clerk. And what our clerk and our deputy clerk do is what I like to say, manage 9 stray cats. We are a handful. City Council, 9 different members, sort of going in 9 different directions, and Mary Beth and Kim are sort of the glue that keeps us all together. And I don't think we could do our jobs without the support of Mary Beth and Kim. And so I thought it would be good to bring them out, let them talk a little bit about the functions of City Council. I'd like to sort of have her tell you a little bit about the history of this room, because everything you see in this room has a meaning and it has a purpose and serves a purpose. And so I think it's important to share the history of the room with you, especially at this time when it's our 200th anniversary of the city's incorporation. So while we wait for for Kim to come out, maybe Mary Beth, just a couple minutes, 5 minutes, talk about the room, what it means, maybe even a little bit about our sister cities and our articles of incorporation. Okay? All right. So this is Mary Beth Doheny.
Welcome, everyone. As Council President Bruce Krause said, the city clerk's office takes care of council members, and in that regard, we are record keepers. It doesn't sound very glamorous, but we're in charge of all of the legislation that comes over week after week after week that make up all the laws of the city. And then we generate agendas, and every time council members meet at the table and discuss bills, we have a database where we go in and we put all of the motions and the actions in as bills are amended, and we do minutes, and we also have video streaming. If you look around, you see cameras here, and we have a cable bureau. But in addition to all of the council meetings being on the government channel, they're also online on your PC computers, the Legislative Information Center. So for every single meeting that we have, including the regular meeting of council where members introduce legislation and where they adopt legislation and where they honor people and groups, we have the standing committee agenda, which is where council members meet in a roundtable discussion. The problem is the table is rectangular, but we still have a lot of good roundtable discussions, and that's where all of the meat of the issues comes out. Council members sit here and they bring directors to the table, and that's where everything gets duked out. That's what I like to say. It's usually a very lively debate. So this is government in progress, and this is local government. You hear all the time, we have a presidential race. That's what's going on in the federal government. Then there's layers in the state government. There's a county. We have a county council, and they take care of the bigger issues. There's 1 million plus people in the county, but in the city of Pittsburgh, we have about 305,000 people. So we're local government. And so I wanted to talk, before I talk about the room, because you have a lot of time here, talk a little bit about what we use for our day-to-day work. In the city of Pittsburgh, we are what's called a city of the second class. And many, many years ago, we petitioned the state, actually 200 years ago, to become a city. In 1816, Pittsburgh got its act of incorporation from the state. And just this year, on March 18th, we celebrated the 200th anniversary of our city becoming an actual city. Before that, we were a borough. So we're a city, and cities have certain rights and guidelines that we have to use. But somewhere along the way, we became a city of the second class, and that was based on our population. So this is the Home Rule Charter. And this is a very important document, because this talks about the structure of our government, the fact that we have a mayor, that we have a council, that we have a city controller that kind of monitors the watchdog, and that we have, you know, the courts if something doesn't work. It's a very important document, and it's not easy to change. The people that wrote this document way back when had a lot of wisdom. And in order to change the Home Rule Charter, you have to put a referendum on the ballot. On voting day, the public gets to decide if they want to change how city council is structured. Back in the day, we had an at-large government, which meant any person that lived in the city anywhere could run for government, and they ran, it didn't matter where they lived. Years later, the wisdom of some of the people thought that it wasn't a fair structure, because there was a 30-something plus population of minorities, African Americans, and they weren't getting elected to council. Also, a lot of the people that got elected seemed to be from the east end of the city. So the people that lived in the west end or the north thought that they wanted equal representation. So what we did then is we broke the city out by equal populations as best we could. And now we have a council by district, and Council President Kraus represents Southside and all the hilltop communities, Allentown and Warrington, that sort of thing. So that's a little bit about our government today and how it's structured. In addition to the Home Rule Charter, we have what's called the Rules of Council. This document is a little easier to amend at different times, but this talks about the day-to-day business of how City Council conducts their meetings, the fact that they elect a president, the fact that every member gets to chair a committee. Some members chair the Committee on Finance, some do Parks and Recreation. We have land use and economic development and human resources, lots of different committees. So that's how we do government. And then the last document I'm going to talk about is the actual city code. It's just a little book that you could read at night before you go to bed if you want to fall asleep. But this is the city code, and this book is made up of all of the different laws that have been adopted all along the way. And every year, certain laws may change as the makeup of the city changes, as development occurs and zoning laws need to be cleaned up, or, you know, laws in the state change that affect the city. We have gun laws that the state is in charge of, and yet the city, with all the violence that's going on in the city, tries to make an impact on what we can do. So This city code is like our guiding light when people call, somebody's making noise, or there's loud music playing, or they're not picking up after their dogs, little things that affect your day-to-day lives. They call us and we cite what the laws are. So that's a little bit about what the clerk's office does as record keepers. It doesn't sound glamorous, but believe it or not, we have original records in our office that are 200 years old. They date back to 1816 when we became a city. And if Kim is listening, I'd love for her to bring in one of our handwritten calligraphy books where they not only wrote the laws in beautiful handwriting, but they drew maps of the city from 200 years ago. Remember, we were just a horse and buggy city. And we were just beginning to make streets and to name roads. And so we have those records here in this office. And we're working right now with the Heinz History Center and the University of Pittsburgh Archive Library so that we can digitize and try to preserve all of these very old records. So just in time, Miss Kim Clark Baskin is going to put one of our handwritten books on this podium. Kim, do you want to talk a little bit about it?
This book, this is ordinance book number 3, and it dates back to...
Maybe you're Vanna White.
Go.
Let's see.
Let's just open it.
You have to really see these books because they're amazing. Before we had keyboards and we're able to text on our phones, the only way to record a record to communicate was to actually use a pen and actually write it down. So these books are 200 years old.
And this specific book is from 1871.
So it is 30 and 16, 40, so about 145 years old. So every word that would have been spoken as a matter of public record, because you are the record keepers of the public at large, is recorded in here and written by hand.
Yes, so we have, I guess it's about 20 books that we have housed in the city clerk's office. And after a certain period, once technology was introduced, then everything went to a typewriter, and we were able to get the records typed out and bound in a book, which is what we do now. Now we have a tracking software called Legistar, where the software, all we do is input the legislation into the software, and it's automatically generated, and we can generate a book from that. So there's no more handwriting, there's no more typewriting. It's just everything comes off of a computer, which makes our job a lot easier, and we get the legislation from the different departments throughout the city.
Does the software translate?
No, it does not. No. I'm sure it does, but that part of Legistar, the city of Pittsburgh, has not moved into that direction yet. So what we use with Legistar is the video streaming. You can watch all videos live online on the city website. I think it's like pittsburghpa.gov, and you would go to city council, and there's a whole list of every meeting that we have is listed on the web, and you can watch it live as it's happening. You can go back and watch meetings from a couple years ago. So everything within the clerk's office, the technology is continuously changing, and as it changes, it just helps the clerk's office be more efficient in translating what council does, what their daily business is. And so what we do is, like Mary Beth said when I was in the back, we're the main support system for city council. So if you get a chance, these books are really old, so I'm gonna just set it right here. If you get a chance, we really don't like a lot of people to touch it because the oils from your hands can easily be transferred onto the paper and it smears the words. So if you wanna come up as you leave to look at the book, please feel free to do so. And there's books, I'm not sure if anybody's ever been in our vault, but it's a fireproof vault, and it has drawers and drawers and drawers of legislation that we passed. And unfortunately, we're running out of room. I think we have like 6 boxes left, and I'm sure by the end of the year, with DeWitt City Council is passing laws and writing legislation, those 6 boxes will fill up extremely quickly. So if it's not a place that you've ever been, I would strongly suggest that you just go in and take a look at the work in the vault and just see where we house all our work at in the clerk's office.
Hey. Okay. Yeah, me? No, I'd rather, you know what? Nobody knows or understands the room, this council chamber like Mary Beth. Mary Beth has been with the city 37?
It'll be 37 years.
Almost 37 years. And so if you look around this room, it's really important as you leave to take a look close up. You see all those little pieces of intricate detail in there? That's not painted on. Those are actually individually cut, handcrafted pieces of wood that craftsmen and craftswomen over a very long period of time actually cut, created, designed, and inlaid. You could not possibly duplicate the craftsmanship or the craftswomanship that you see in this chamber. And that's why this building and these chambers and other parts of this building are what we call an historic landmark. They will be preserved for all time, and no alterations or changes can be made without a very thoughtful and deliberative process. And it's the same thing if you look in here as well. You're going to see the same kinds of details in the furnishings, in the tables, and around the soffit and fascia of the room. But I'm going to let Mary Beth tell you a little bit more about the history, because no one understands the history of this room like Mary Beth does.
I do believe Mayor William Peduto knows as much as I do and loves to talk about this room. And I do believe we are expecting the mayor shortly. But we'll use some time. As Council President stated, the room is designed, and it's all an individual puzzle piece. You know how we like to do puzzles? Well, that's what this wood room was made of. Every piece is separate. So if you look around the walls, the seal of the city is here. And as we were doing the research for our bicentennial, we found some different resolutions and ordinances that actually pinpointed when the seal of the city was adopted. It was 1899. And so the seal is located throughout the room. And even on the doors, you see hammers and tools. Well, remember, in the 1800s, our city was just starting to grow. We had the Three Rivers, so we were a great city for industry and for the steel mills and for all that. So that is displayed in this room. I want you to look up on the ceiling. Look at the white ceiling. And around the ceiling, you see different names and dates. The very first ever mayor is right up front, Ebenezer Denny, and he became the mayor in 1816. And he was only here for less than a year. But all of the names are all around the ceiling. If you might find a relative or whatever, you never know. And then when they ran out of room, they started painting the names on the walls. So we make sure that we document all of the elected mayors of the city. And then if you look in the circles, you see different names of neighborhoods: St. Clair, West Pittsburgh, Monongahela, Mount Washington, Birmingham, Allegheny, East Allegheny. It goes on and on, Sheridan, Manchester. These are all the names of the little boroughs that annexed into the city when we first got incorporated. And if you go downstairs, along with the art show that's down there, there's a historic exhibit that shows all the different borough books that the clerk's office houses here. In addition to our minute books, we have books from all sorts of boroughs that we store here. And again, they're very old and historical. So it's kind of neat to look at the ceiling. And this building is 100 years old. It was built between 1915 and 1917, and this building was built in honor of the city's 100th anniversary. And so we're getting ready to celebrate 100 years, and that's why we've been trying to restore it. All the furniture that you're sitting on in the last 5 years has been redone. It's original. Some people said, well, let's buy new, because it's not very affordable to rehab historical furniture. You have to take it all apart and put springs and new leather and new gold trim. But everything is original to this this room. So we are glad you had a chance to see how beautiful it is and how city council members do their business. And I'll say one more thing. Right outside this door, you will see some very colorful flags and some cabinets that are filled with all sorts of dignitary gifts. The city of Pittsburgh joins with many other cities across the world, cities that might not have the same type of democracy as we do, but they enter into what's called a sister city relationship. And in that regard, the cities agree that we want to share certain interests, human rights for people, try to get together and build economic development opportunities, talk about health care and culture and the arts and sports. So we have specific, very formal sister city agreements with all the different countries where the flags are. And as different dignitaries come to council to visit and to receive proclamations, we exchange gifts. So you will see some beautiful vases and some books and different gifts that have been exchanged from our city to the other cities. And please take a moment to enjoy that. And we do change the cabinets out at different times. So that's all I have to say, which I'm sure is more than enough. Thank you for coming.
Okay, so that's a little bit about City Council and who we are and what we do and what our jobs are like. So what I think I'd like to do while we wait for the mayor to come in is to perhaps maybe open it up to you, hear from you. Maybe you have some questions for us or some comments. Maybe you might want to talk about what you might like to do when it's your time to go to work, you know, whether you might want to be a firefighter or you might want to work in our public works department or perhaps in our finance department. So with that, I'm going to open it up for some questions. Don't be shy, because if you don't ask them, I'm going to call on you to ask them. Who wants to go? Kaz, you're laughing. Do you want to start? Go ahead. And you know what? I'm going to take your question and repeat it because we're filming, and so I need to get everything on the microphone. So normally I would come to you, but you ask, I'll repeat, and then we'll see if I can answer it, okay? It's a great question. So what's it like to be a member of City Council? What are our jobs like on a day-to-day basis? And what you might want to do one day if you would like to run for a public office. Does anybody in the room, would you consider one day, let me ask this question. Anybody here like to be mayor one day? Kids, please, not adults. I don't want to get in trouble. Right? I think that's really good, and I'm really happy that you want to do that, because what I'd like to say about that is, of all the mayors that we've had in our 200-year anniversary, how many have been women? How many? Just one. Only one ever. And when you think about the dynamic of the world today and sort of the national conversation we're having about electing a president, there's a very real chance that a president of the United States could be a woman, or even as of yesterday, a vice president of the United States could be a woman. And so I'd really like to plant in your minds the thought about maybe one day you might want to be a city council person, or you might want to be a mayor, or you might want to be a controller. And that's a really good and honorable profession, and something that we hope you'll do, because not everybody wants to do that because the jobs can be difficult. So to answer Casimir's question, what's our day like? It depends on the day. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we actually meet in chambers. Tuesday's a little bit different of a meeting. Wednesday's a little bit different of a meeting. But our first duty and obligation is the budget of the city and the monies that are collected through the taxes and how those are dispersed. So that's our primary function. After that, a lot of our work is really around perhaps crafting laws or legislations, or as Mary Beth showed you, the rule book, as we like to call it, because even we as adults have to follow rules, even though it might not be the most fun thing in the world to do. We have to follow rules too. So we make rules that we can all agree on in a very democratic process, and then implement through the administration and the mayor's office. But a lot of the work that we do is really working one-on-one with you. It's very common for many people in this room to pick up the phone, to call council offices, to say things like, I got a pothole, or perhaps this red light doesn't work anymore, or somebody knocked the stop sign down, or the number one question I get from kids when they come into the room here to talk with us is, why is there litter in the streets? That's probably our biggest phone call that we get in the office. The more I talk with young people like you, the more I hear how much you dislike the fact that people take either their gum wrappers or their cups or their Pepsi bottles and throw them into the street. Number one question. So those are the kinds of things that we do, and kind of like what our days are about. Okay, who else has a question? Okay, sir?
What other professions are important within the city that you work with?
Okay.
Many children here are maybe want to be like an anesthesiologist. So how do other professions play into?
Sure, it's a great question. I like to use the word elected official. Politician has this sort of connotation about it. And it really is a difference. To be an elected official, I believe, in my heart, is really a calling. It's really about public service and sort of selfless public service. And it's not for the faint of heart. It can be very long and difficult and hard to do, but if you love the work, you're going to do it really well and you're going to be successful. But there are so many different professions out there that are important in ways that I can't even begin to explain. Some of them, as they relate to city government, paramedics. God forbid something happens, you get hurt, you have an accident, you fall on your bicycle, you break your arm, your grandmother might be very sick, she has heart problems. We provide the very important services of what we call EMS workers, men and women, that are deployed purposefully to assist you with medical emergencies. That's a very honorable profession. That is something that I would hope many of you would consider doing in the city. This young man over here in his yellow work vest has captivated me since I came in. Our DPW services. Can you imagine a city where we did not have a solid and sound Department of Public Works to deal with things like infrastructure, with maintaining your parks, your playgrounds, making sure the roads are paved, making sure that snow is removed, especially in snow emergencies, making sure that the potholes get fixed and the garbage gets emptied. How many here just take for granted the fact, like this morning, there's going to be a team of men and women that are going to show up and just pick up all the garbage I put out today? It doesn't just happen in a vacuum, right? We have very honest, honorable, hardworking people that choose those professions. How about firefighters or police officers and the important services that they provide that keep our homes safe, and God forbid, in case of a fire, keeping our streets safe in case of matters of gun violence or crime or those kinds of things. So there are many, many honorable and honest professions that you can see that you can find within city government. And I hope many of you will ultimately consider those professions at some point in time. Who else? What? Good. What's your question? It took how long did it take to build this room? It took 2 years, which you think of in terms of how we build things today. You see the biggest of buildings go up in very short periods of time because construction materials have changed, the way we build things have changed, but much of this is built by manual labor. And when you think about, like I said, the intricacy of the woodworking in this room alone, you can imagine the time it took to provide that kind of detail and how long it would have taken to do that. So 2 years it took to build this. whole building. What's your question? What's it made of? Probably plaster cast. It was probably molded in a plaster cast and then gilded with the gold gilding. Am I about right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, what's your question? Sure. Very good question. I would say it was Mayor Babcock and, where's the last one up here? Mayor Babcock would have been mayor when this building was completed. The shortest term in office would be Mayor Herron, who only served 1 year, and that was 1933. And thank heavens it's written on the wall, because I'm
getting dizzy.
I could read it off the wall, or you would have really stumped me with those questions. What's your question? Oh, wow, that's a really good question. So you see the light fixtures in here. These are, again, like Mary Beth was saying, very old, very ornate. Those are plaster cast as well. So they're made of plaster. I don't know, I'm trying to give an example of what else might be made of plaster. But they would have crafted molds out of most likely some form of metal that contained all of that detail, and then the plaster cast was poured and allowed to harden. The mold would have been taken away, and then they would have been gilded with the gold and wired to be electric. Were they always electric, do you know, Mary Beth? Okay. Who else has a question? How did we get these books, you mean? Well, we keep them here. And we have a vault in the back. Do you have a safe where you keep like maybe your allowance and things like that at home? You don't. Okay. Well, I'm trying for examples, but it's a safe place to keep them, where we keep them locked up so that only certain people can get to them, and that's how we protect them. But they're just right back there, and if we need them, we can go back and get them. Okay. Wait, I took your question. Let me take. Is that your sister? Okay, what's your question? What else is made out of plaster? Probably nothing else in the room. Well, no, that's probably not true. Those moldings along the top where you see your different neighborhoods displayed, those most likely would have been plaster castes too, made just the same way with a metal mold that would have been forged, and then the plaster poured, the mold removed, and then installed in place and painted. Okay? Sure. Good question. Mary Beth, can you help me out? Because our police officers, if you notice, they wear that blue and white checker on their caps. But I think you might have stumped me, because I don't know if I know that.
What's the question?
What does the blue and white checkerboard in the crest mean?
Interesting you say that. Downstairs, where the historic exhibit is, there is a handout that talks about the crest and how we adopted it from Britain. And they talk about the birds and how originally they were supposed to be one bird, but the person who designed it put a different bird. And in that description, they said they're not sure why the blue and white checkerboard was put there. And so I recommend that when you leave here, you go down and look at the historic exhibit. There's some handouts about the crest and how it all began and why it was designed. Okay? So I wish I had a better answer, but that is the truth.
Oh, that's a great idea. We're happy to do that. So you guys are going to leave with little pins when you go, and they will have the crest on it. So you'll have an example. If you want to get down and ask some questions or try to find out, you'll be able to point out what you're asking about. What's your question? What time do we get up? So the older I get, the harder it is to sleep, and that's the truth. So I usually get up by about 5:30. I do my best in the morning, 5:30. I do really, really well. By about 9 o'clock at night, I am fading, and I'm heading to bed, and that is the truth. What's your question? Outsider trucks? Oh, you know what? There was last year, and I have every reason to believe there'll be a fire truck out there today, too. Yeah, there should be. Yep, there will be. This young man wants to know what my first job was, and I told you a little bit about that earlier. I worked for Isley's, and I used to make Klondikes and ice cream cones, when I was about 16 years old. That was my first job.
Council President?
Yes. What's your question? I'm sorry? She wanted to know what these are up here. These are lights, and they can be quite bright and intense, but we need them for when we film our city council meetings. Like we said before, we used to keep them written as a matter of public record. We now videotape everything as a matter of public record, and so in order to make certain that we get good digital copies, we need to have the room lighted in certain ways, and that's what they're used for. What's your question? I do get up at 5 o'clock and way too much. And it's a good thing I drank a lot this morning. It really is. What's your question? It's very fun for me. And that's a really, really good question. As you go about completing your schoolwork and ultimately your university work, and hopefully here in Pittsburgh, you're going to have to make decisions about what you want to do for the rest of your life, just like your moms and your dads and your brothers and aunts and uncles. And the most important thing that I think is you really have to love your job. If you just go to work every day, just because you have to go to work every day, it's not a whole lot of fun. But if you really love your job, you're going to be really successful at it. And this is a job I genuinely love. I am excited about getting up and coming to work every day. Well, almost every day. Yeah. Sure. Okay.
And what they love.
So there are of course, there are a number of city workers in the room, and Mary Beth has a great idea. Would like to know if you would like to stand up, tell us a little bit about your position and what you do with the city. And we could start with Corey. I'm really good at that.
Pass the microphone around.
Thank you.
Yes.
David.
You can just tell us what department you work for.
Hi, my name is Corey Layman. I work in city planning. I'm the city zoning administrator. So some of the city codes, some of the laws that have to do with how buildings are built, those are the laws that we work with and write sometimes.
All employees can stand up, and then we know that we can hand the microphone.
Hi, I'm Grant Ervin. I work in the Department of Innovation and Performance, and I serve as the Chief Sustainability Officer for this. Everybody, all rise. And I work on environmental policies and practices for the city.
Hi, my name is Lee Haller, and I work in the Department of Public Works, and one of my roles is to implement new technology. So one of my projects was implementing the snowplow tracker so that in the winter your parents can find out where the snowplows are all over the city.
Anybody?
Hi, my name is Nick Law. I work for Innovation and Performance. I'm a help desk representative. I've been here for about 3 months, and I'm so excited to be here and to have my children, Alexandra and Mason, here today.
I'm Alex Nunley, also with the Department of Innovation and Performance. I'm one of the systems administrators. We keep the IT services up and running so your parents can save their work on the computers.
Hi, my name is Sean Corey. I'm a detective with the Pittsburgh Police. I work in OMI and been on the job for 15 years now.
I'm Lisa Ray. I'm Senior Secretary, City Planning. I work with Corey and Ray Gastel, and we do the plans for the city.
Hi, my name is Ben Cogan. I work in the Department of Personnel and Civil Service. I work in the payroll section, making sure that all of your parents get paid.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Alaina Emery. I work in personnel, and I am a support to Pam Vogel. She is our training and development specialist. I also support the Assistant Director of Employment and Training, Jen Matson.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Matteo. I work in the Bureau of EMS as one of the city paramedics and rescue techs. I've been with the city about 10 years now. I'm just starting my 10th year there. And I did about 13 years in the suburbs before that. So 24 years in EMS. And I think it's pretty understandable what I do for a living for the city. And I take care of everybody that's a resident here or a visitor here when they're sick, injured, anything like that. So.
Hi, I'm Alexis Brown-Cates. I work with the Department of Innovation and Performance as the Senior IMP Analyst. We're a service department, so we help support all the city workers in making sure that their systems are up and running.
Good morning. My name is Deborah Walker. I'm the director of what's called the Office of Municipal Investigations, which is OMI. Our job is responsible for investigating the misconduct of all city employees. Sort of like if you get in trouble and you have to go to your principal, we're your principal. And so our office consists of civilian investigators, who is Sean Corey is one, as a detective with the Bureau of Police. We're located on the 9th floor, and we welcome any one of you that want to come up today and sit down and talk to us further about our operation.
Hi, as you know, I think I've been introduced. My name's Pam Vogel, and I work for the Personnel Department. I really enjoy my job so much that I worked here for 11 and a half years, and I left for 5.5 years, and I came back to work for the city about 1.5 years ago, and I'm really glad to be back. And part of my role is to help the city workers have the tools they need to do their jobs and help them get some training, and then also I help plan some events like this. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Andrew DeWitt. This is my daughter, Jackie. I work in the City Controller's office. The City Controller is an elected official. Our office is on the 1st floor. Michael Lamb is the current City Controller. My job is I handle lots of different things. I work with council members when there are pieces of legislation up for discussion, and I do a lot of work checking the city budget and monitoring how things are getting paid.
Hi, my name is Hanna Wilford, and I work for the Department of Special Programs. And we bring to you things like the Roving Art Cart, Alphabet Tales and Trails, and the Art Show downstairs.
Hi, my name is Pickett. I'm the manager of real estate in the finance department. My responsibility is managing treasury sales, the 3 taxing bodies. So any of your property taxes, we're responsible for them. So don't holler at me, but that's my role. The treasury sales and 3 taxing bodies.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Gula. I work in the finance department, and I'm the city's investment officer. And basically, I'm our banker. I'm responsible for monitoring all the city's tax collections, putting them in the banks, wiring them and dispersing them to the proper accounts.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Mickle. I work in public works. I do the streets as well as fill potholes, salt streets, and cut the grass.
My name is Malcolm Hardie. I'm with the Urban Redevelopment Authority, 200 Ross Street. And what I do, my title is a construction compliance specialist. And this is my son, Malcolm. So my name is Malcolm, and he's Malcolm. And so what I do is that I go around and look for, on different construction sites, do prevailing wage, and also look at minority, women, business, enterprise stuff. So thank you. Anybody else? Oh, sir.
Hi, guys. Good morning. I'm Chelsey Berry, and I work for Councilwoman Darlene Harris. And I am an administrative assistant, and we represent Council District 1, which is the north side.
I'm going to let the people in the back do it so the camera has a better shot.
Hi, I'm Kaz Pellegrini. This is my daughter, Mia Pellegrini. And I'm an architect with the Department of Public Works. We have a little architecture division, and we take care of about 300 buildings. So some of them are really great ones: police, fire, medic, rec centers, senior centers. We have 300 buildings that we help maintain and restore, including this great building. And when you guys leave today, I want you to take special note of the building from Grant Street. Look up at the facade. Look how wonderful it is, but it's in disrepair. It's falling apart in some places. It's discolored. It needs to be restored back to what it looked like many, many years ago. And we're doing that, and that's something you can pay attention to for the next 2 months, and you'll see a completely different building. And it's, as they said, Councilman and Mary Beth, it's a 100-year-old building, and it's going to get some real more love and care. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Sean Wigle. I'm a program supervisor with the Department of Public Works. I work in our Refuse and Recycling Bureau to get all the trash and recycling picked up in the city.
Hi, I'm Maria Bethel. I'm in the Department of Public Safety. I'm here with my 2 daughters, Rachel and Michelle. I also used to work with Corey. We started on the same day back in '06 before he had kids. But I also started in City Council as when I came to the City of Pittsburgh. So this is my 10th year here with the City of Pittsburgh. In public safety, I coordinate what we call the disruptive property ordinance and legislation. So I too am concerned with city codes. I work primarily with the Pittsburgh Police Bureau. I also serve on our nuisance property task force. We work with our district attorney's office. We work with our U.S. attorney's office and police commanders to abate problems and make sure people are following city codes and state laws. And also I'm a child advocate. So we have a program where we actually work with parents and conduct parent workshops to help parents become better parents and avoid child abuse and also avoid violence so that we learn to be better at school, better at our communities, and learn how to have peaceable and have a good neighbor policy in the City of Pittsburgh.
Hi, I'm Michele Burch. I'm with the Department of Personnel. We have a lot of really wonderful, dedicated employees here in the City of Pittsburgh that do some pretty dangerous work for us. And I think one of the most important jobs that I do here is to help anybody that does get hurt, while they're helping us out, get better as quickly as they can and get back to work and to everything they can do with their family.
Morning, my name is Matt McHale. I'm an assistant city solicitor with the law department. I'm here with my daughters Ann and Kitty and my son Benji. They have another little sister who's at home. My job is if people feel like they haven't been treated fairly by the city or have had their rights violated by the city, or if the city feels like it hasn't been treated fairly by, in some circumstances, people want a federal judge to decide who's right. And my job is to represent the city and the city's employees in disputes like that.
Hi, I'm Mary Lou Kubiak. I work in the finance department. I'm an auditor, and I audit businesses and individuals to help bring in the money that runs this city.
Hello, my name is Jane Motz. I'm the Zone 6 Police Commander's clerical specialist, and I field all of his work and his phone calls.
Hi, I'm Ann Packard. I work for the City Controller's Office. I work with the JDE system, and then currently we're doing pension checks, printing pension checks, and city paychecks.
Phil Thompson, firefighter for the city of 14 Truck in Oakland. I think you know what my job is. So.
Hi, my name is Cheryl San Miron. I work for the Commission on Human Relations, and what our department does is you would come to our department if you had a complaint, a discriminatory complaint within the Pittsburgh jurisdiction. That's it.
I'll take. Thank you. So I understand the mayor is in the house. He's just next door. He may come through that door. He may come through this door. But a few more people have come in since we started. Not that I want to call anybody out, but our Deputy Public Safety Director, Mike Huss, has come in, and I thought maybe he might stand and tell a little bit about what your job's like and what you get to do. How are you?
Thank you, President Kraus. My name is Michael Huss. I work in public safety. Public safety is comprised of the bureaus of police, fire, EMS, and animal control. And I'm here with my wonderful children today. This is Hannah and Michael Jr. So We're here to have a great day and to see all the things, but thanks for all the children coming out and the parents to bring them. We do have some great public safety vehicles that are going to be over here a little bit later on 4th Avenue, where you get to see a bomb robot and an ambulance and fire truck and things like that. So make sure that the parents have an opportunity to get down on 4th Avenue a little bit after 10 and take advantage of all that. Looks like my son wants the microphone, but we're going to pass. But thank you very much.
So the number one question was whether there was going to be a fire truck out there, but there's going to be a whole lot more than a fire truck out there shortly, and you're going to get to see it. James works for the mayor. I thought maybe you might want to say just a little bit about what your job is like. I understand the mayor's on his way over now. Maybe you might even get to introduce him, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Okay?
Hey guys, my name's James Sill. I'm what's called the special assistant to the mayor, and that means I have to date unsuccessfully got him on time anywhere. But I have this fantasy that one day we're going to get somewhere on time. But my job is pretty much to go around with him. You know how whenever you go out, everyone's always mad about something, whether it be a pothole, a street paving, or anything else. So the mayor frequently grabs my shoulders to put me in front of him to intercept the angry people. And then I bring all the information back here, divvy it out to the various departments. It's a lot of fun. I get to see a lot of things. I get to meet a lot of cool people. And also, I was working with Mary Beth and everything a lot for the bicentennial. We slaved away to get everything down there in the lobby for the cases and all the historic books. I would like to wager my career that the mayor will be in this door room within 2 minutes. So it was nice knowing you if that ends a different way. But he should be in a few more minutes. I know, Mary Beth, you probably talked all about chambers and whatnot. Okay, there was my fire. Councilman Krause.
Okay, good. So, just a couple announcements then while we wait for the mayor to come in. You know there's going to be snacks out here in the lobby, so as soon as he comes in, he'll talk a little bit, and then you'll go out there, but you'll have your morning snack, and then you'll get to go about your day. I think you go till about 1 o'clock today. Is that about right, I think? So while we wait for him, if there was anyone else that might have a question that didn't have a chance to ask before, we'll take a question. What's your question again?
Why isn't the flooring tile the room?
Well, I don't know that the question was, why doesn't the floor tile match the room? I guess that might be a matter of opinion.
That's a question for Kaz, right?
Yeah, there you go. So I'm not sure exactly why, or if this is even the original flooring, but I don't believe it is. I would think this would have been replaced at one time. Right? I would think. What's your question? So, that's a great question. So the question was, why do you see the names on these gold plates around the room? So when Mary Beth was talking earlier, she talked about how see, good morning. So we started there with the very first mayor, and the names go all the way around. And then when we ran out of room, we had to put them on the wall. And so just absolute perfect timing. The very last gold placard over there you see is William Peduto, which is our mayor now. So with that, I am honored, and it is my deep pleasure to introduce our mayor, Mayor Bill Peduto. How are you? Good morning.
Did you just introduce me as our last little placard?
Well, something like that.
I think that's what he called me, I'm pretty sure. No, we actually get along. That's kind of nice, too. We got this good relationship between the administration and city council. I don't know what Bruce told you about all this. I did hear a little bit about it, but this beautiful building was built for the 100th anniversary of the city. So 200 years ago, that guy that we were talking about, Ebenezer Denny, the first mayor of the city of Pittsburgh, he was a Revolutionary War hero. He actually was a major fighting with George Washington, and he was only 19 years old. And if you ever see the famous painting of Cornwallis surrenders, when the British surrendered to the Americans at the Battle of Yorktown, and General Cornwallis surrenders his sword to George Washington, there's a line of officers there with George Washington, and there's one red-headed young man holding the American flag on his horseback. And that was our mayor, Ebenezer Denny, 200 years ago. And he, after that, for the 100th anniversary, the mayor at the time, who is right up here, Joe Armstrong. They called him Joe the Builder because Pittsburgh was building so fast in 1916. He said, we're going to build this beautiful building for our anniversary. And so for the 100th anniversary of the city of Pittsburgh, they built this beautiful building. Now it's the 200th anniversary this year. And as everyone knows, we have no money. So what we're doing is we're saying we're making stone soup. And stone soup's when you put a couple stones in the pot, and then somebody comes with a couple carrots. Somebody comes with a potato. Someone brings a little bit of meat, maybe some chicken, and a little bit of spices, and then at the end, you have a wonderful stew. And so we're asking all the people of Pittsburgh to be a part of the 200th anniversary. And so far, over 300 groups have signed up. And we're going to have a big parade on July 9th, marching down the street, recognizing all the wonderful past of the city and all the future. And then we're going to have an all-day concert down at the Point to celebrate the 200th anniversary. I wish we had the money to build another nice building, but we don't. So to the kids here today, your moms and your dads are the ones who keep this city going. So all the different things that your friends never have to think about, like when they come to a traffic signal, is that signal going to change, or will it both ways be green? When you turn on the water in the morning, will that water be able to drink? As you go into the park, will the park be a place you want to be? Will the streets be safe? Will there be somebody when you call 911 to actually show up? Will the city be able to afford what it's doing and the finances happen? Will the people who work in the city have health care and be able to be taken care of? And will we be able to take care of your grandma and your grandpa? And will we give people the quality of life they deserve? Everything that people don't have to think about, that's what your mom and dad do every single day. And they make this city the most livable city in the country. We're number one. And there's a reason because we have a really great team that takes care of our people. That's our job. We're the city's largest service agency. We serve the people of Pittsburgh. And we each have a role to play in order to make sure that happens. Now, if I did have that money to build a new building, I'd probably invest it back into the city and to see other things happen. This building will be here for another 100 years, I'm sure, because we have good people to take care of it as well. But at the same time, we do what we can, and we do the best job that we can. And to think about it and to look at the other cities around the country, we do a better job than almost everyone. So there's a lot of pride we all take in the jobs we do. And I hope that when you're here today and you get the chance to see all the different things and what your mom and dad do on a daily basis, you're going to have that same pride as well. So I guess this is, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many I've been able to come to with Take Your Child to Work Day. But I can tell you this, every year it gets a little bit bigger. And I don't know if that's because our employees are having more kids. If so, congratulations. I think it's just that there's a lot more involvement that's happening. And as long as we have that, as long as we have that basic fabric, which makes Pittsburgh a special place, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, that family, then we have all we need. So enjoy today. There's going to be snacks. I was joking that it was going to be like some whole grain oatmeal with warm milk. It won't be. It'll be stuff that tastes good. And also just have a great chance to look around and see. What you'll see is all those different things that your friends don't have to think about, that the people in this room take care of every day to make this city the best city in the world. So thanks, guys. Enjoy your day here today.